Hey, welcome to the Christmas edition of Nobody Told Me with Mike Mylan and Blaine Birch. And today we're going to talk about email marketing. You love it or hate it, but you need it and you got to use it. And Blaine, what's up, man?
Not too much. I'm looking forward to having a little bit of time off next week for the first time in, I couldn't tell you, probably since last year. So I'm really looking forward to a nice and relaxing time. And you can see I'm down to t-shirt. I've kind of started early. I guess started on the beer a little before we got going today. So I'm ready.
Yeah, that's what you told me. You're like, hey, I got a little head start on you. I'm like, I don't think people will notice.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll find out.
I always think that, right? I even think that when it's about 10 beers in, I'm like, oh, nobody notices.
Yeah, it's all the same. We just ramble on anyway. So maybe it'll make us the best episode ever. So
yeah, it could be. It could be. So good. Hey, this is again number 21, right? Number 21. So man, we are cranking it right along, and I think we might have. Would we have one more before the end of the year? You think we can squeeze 22 into season 1?
I think we can. I got faith. We'll see. We'll see how next week goes, but I think it'd be kind of. I think we should do one more. Get to it. We won't get to our even 24, but we could do 22. It's up. Yeah, we'll see.
We missed a couple of weeks, right? We missed a couple of weeks, so it's kind of our fault. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So hey, man, what are you drinking today?
All right. So this I got to show you. This is one of my. I really like this brewery, Epic Brewery. They're out of Salt Lake City and Denver. I think they're based in Salt Lake City just because they actually list that first. Big Bad Baptist is a series that I like, and I've got a couple others in the fridge. They do all kinds of bigger and badder and peanut and coconut and all these ones. This is their reserve, Big Bad Baptist Reserve. It is really good. It is delicious. So I really like this brewery. They're just lots of fun. Put my bottle up there so people can kind of see the bottle, and just a really heavy, meaty stout with a lot of flavor. So it's a fun one.
Now I know you didn't do this on purpose, right? Because let's see, if I move this up, there is my master's degree, right?
Okay.
Right,
yep.
From a school called Baylor University. And I don't know if you know Baylor University at all or kind of heard.
Just heard of it. Yeah.
So think what Notre Dame is for Catholics, Baylor is for Baptist. And here you are just saying, Baptist Reserve. I'm like going, what? Did you do that because I went to Baylor?
I had no idea. That's just the name of a beer. But yeah, no, I had no idea. I've heard of Baylor in football circles. I had no idea. I didn't know much about the college, so that's really interesting.
Yeah, it is a private university, with the Baptist Foundation, right? So it's
nice. Yeah.
Funny you said that. So very cool. I tell you what, I got a great one. I'm super excited about this one. I mean, occasionally you find one that supports a cause, that you like, and I ran across this beer today. It's called Canine Lager. Right, from the Texas Beer Company. And what's cool about it is that 1% of the purchase price is going towards Canines for Warriors, right? So
nice.
Veterans with PTSD, and they're going to run that promotion all the way through 2023.
Nice.
And again, a whole year worth of donations going in. But anyway, if you see this in a store, go pick it up. I mean, because they provide service dogs for veterans with PTSD. And Texas Beer Company is in Taylor, Texas, just right up the road. I mean, it's right outside Austin, which is about an hour and a half from where I live. So yeah, another great Texas Beer Company that I found. Texas Beer.
Nice. I will watch for that one and see because I will absolutely pick that up if I can find that in Arizona here, because that's I love not only the microbreweries, but when they're helping a cause like that, like such a worthy cause. I'll definitely see if I can pick some up here.
Well, cheers to everyone's holiday, whichever it is this month. Mine is Christmas.
I'll say cheers as well. This is a delicious beer.
All right. Well, cool. So we started off with email, right? I mean, I can remember getting my first email address, and I still have it. Right? It's funny is Courtney also has her first email address, and the domains are mine's Hotmail and hers is AOL. Believe it or not, there's still an AOL email service running around out there. And there's probably,
I didn't know that, to be honest. I didn't even know there would be one around that worked. And my first email address I know was a Hotmail address, and I can't for the life of me remember what the address was, because I don't think I've had it for decades. Because I have some old ones that are Gmail, but I know I had a Hotmail address, and I don't for the life of me remember what it was. So that's good on you to keep it. I feel now that I should have kept it as a little bit of a nostalgic thing. I should have kept on, hung on to that one.
I not just kept it. I mean, it's active. I use it all the time. It's my personal email address that I use for, buying things, getting subscriptions, whatever it is. So, and right now I use a Gmail address for, it's kind of like a junk drawer. Right?
Good call.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I do. And, and what's funny about that is, First of all, that I was able to keep one. And what's happening now is that even my grandkids, when they're born, my daughter's setting them up with an email address, which is kind of a cool thing because anybody could all their life just drop in little notes to them or things like that. Yeah. And when they get old enough to kind of go through it, they've got, we've just created a lot of stress for them because they'll have like 2,000 unread messages. Exactly. I'm like going, wow, we didn't really think that through, did we?
But it's amazing how long, like my mobile number I've had for probably like 20 years now or more. And my probably like my first Gmail address, my company ones have changed a bit here and there, sold companies and stuff, and then off they go. Mm-hmm. But my Gmail, I'm sure I've had around it probably was the one that replaced a Hotmail account. I didn't even know why I replaced it. There must have been a compelling reason at the time. I don't know why, but it's amazing the longevity. And now, I never think of it. The kids are born and they can probably keep that address maybe forever, right?
You would think, right? Because you could put in pictures, you can put in little private notes to them. I mean, you hope that it's something that they treasure. Like you remember when they used to have baby books? Right. Like my mom had one, she would write in, oh, you're first this, that, or the other, or I was thinking about this today, or you did this. It's the same premise. It's just a digital baby book.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure my mom tried to pawn mine off on me like a few months ago in the summer. And my wife was much more enthusiastic than me about it because I think she thought it would be hilarious. And I'm just like, whatever.
So what's cool is the reason why I started it off like that was, when I was growing up, you had a mailing address, right? Just a mailing address. People would send you letters, those type of things. I mean, you had a school locker people could slide notes into. This is a form of communication that's had some staying power. As much as people hate it or want to get rid of it or it clogs up their life, they still rely on it.
I will say, I haven't thought this through because this sort of occurred to me just now. I will say that Slack and Zoom and platforms like that, there's a bunch of them, of course, have saved email. Mm-hmm. The reason I say that is because at one time, not too long ago, not too many years ago, people tried to do business in email and it wasn't appropriate. And it would get clogged with junk. And you know what emails turned out to be for me today is very much like mail. Mm-hmm. It's generally not very time sensitive. It's official documents I might have to actually sign and send back to somebody. It's marketing messages I don't have to deal with right now, but I'm likely interested in. But the rest of the communication is going through Slack, through text messaging, through Zoom, through all of these other platforms, which means it's taken all of the stress of that stuff off of email. And it's probably put email where it should be, which is literally kind of a replacement for paper mail.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I kind of make the differerentiation of internal versus external. I mean, I want all of my team, hey, we're going to use one of the tools, Teams, Slack, Path when I built that. So, I mean, it was designed to have an internal conversation. Yeah. Whereas email, though, again, I use it for external, right? So that's how I make the differentiation. So anybody that's not in my organization, but I can still keep tabs on you, but you're not clogging up my day, right? I can
Yeah.
just go to, I can go to email at my point in time. I don't have to watch it all day for sensitive things because there's too many immediate ways to contact me now.
Yeah.
And email is not it.
Yeah. And the one that's dropped off the most for me is phone. I actually had someone email me the other day and told me, well, I left a voicemail for you yesterday. I'm like, oh man, you did a what? So I had to check and like, oh shit, man, sorry. I like totally missed that because, most of the stuff that comes in there is literally just junk messages and it never seems to be time sensitive and totally caught me off guard because they're like, oh, I guess I need to check my voicemail every once in a while. But emails changed so much as well. And I didn't really think about it till you brought this up. We started talking about it. Email is really useful. And it's so much more useful now than it was a few years ago, or even a couple of years ago, because like you said, all the really important internal right now communication and conversations happen elsewhere.
Well, and I got to tell you how I use it now is way different than I used it back then, right? Because I used to kind of go through and read messages and things like that. And now today, it's a screen, right? It's like going, you've got to catch my attention in so few words, especially because of looking at it on the phone. You've got really your name, right? And whatever the first 3, 4, 5 words of the subject is, and that's about it to get my attention.
And I'm not really big on those like acronyms and things, but the one that I learned even at my age, like TLDR, I live by that one.
Oh, absolutely.
I open up an email, even if it's got like, it's got a great subject or whatever, I'm like, oh, check, click. And I see this block of text, done, gone. Like, I'm just like, nope, I'm just not going to sit there and read it. There's no chance, right?
Somebody listening, TLDR is too long, didn't read, right? Or don't read, or however you want to say it. Yeah, didn't read it. So.
Didn't read it. Never even got past. And if it's honestly like a 2-sentence email, I've basically read it without, I can't even help it. I read it, right?
Yeah.
If someone can catch me there, if they catch me in a sentence or two, I might reply. But anything long is out the door. And that, that goes for LinkedIn and everything else too. If you ever opened up a LinkedIn message, someone sends you a message, you just connected with them, and they might say, hey, we do this. Do you want to hop on a call? I'm like, maybe not, or probably not, but at least I know what you do. And I see a big block of text. I'm like, I don't care what you do. I'm not reading it.
I get through maybe 10%.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's not interesting anymore. So, but that might be just us. Other people might go, okay, I am interested. Give me more detail before I commit to a call. Right. So there's a flip of a coin. Maybe. We're just not the customer, right? Maybe we're just not the customer, at that point in time. So that's what's funny about it. So with me though, I keep people, instead of unsubscribing or whatever, sometimes I'll keep people like going, not now, but you're going to hit me one of these days when it's right. I'm like going, I still want something, but I never open them. Right. I've got a couple of companies that I see it come through and I've thought unsubscribe, no. And I keep it because I think something might be coming in the future where I'm like going, that's the one, that's the guy I want to contact is this one.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I do that all the time. Even ones that I find are too long, I might be like, it seems like it's from something interesting. I had a salesperson a few months ago, the most relentless salesperson I've ever seen. She was hitting me up on LinkedIn and on email, LinkedIn, and short, compelling. It was just like, I don't need it right now. The timing's not right. But I didn't unsubscribe because I'm like, it might come up in the future, right? And absolutely relentless. But I'm assuming probably fairly automated, so I was never all that worried about it either, right? But there's something there, right? Like it's a nice little kind of holding pattern, like to place something in there and know that it's around, right?
Well, that's funny when you're talking about automation, right? Because that's something that you dreamed of back in the early 2000s. Like, oh, man, I'm trying to hit 2,000 people on a mailing list. I wish there was a way we could just schedule this, right, and send it out.
Yeah. Have you seen though the AI written emails?
Yeah, they're terrible.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
I can tell almost instantly. And you know
yeah,
what's funny is on occasion I'll get the same one from two different companies or two different people. I'm like going, you're not even changing the template.
not even change it. And though I'll be honest with you, I read some of those because I'll know within the first sentence, and they can be hilarious, right? And you know how I know where they got our information from is on LinkedIn on our company page. Um, our marketing director hasn't just named it Dry Run because we're under the radar a lot for a lot of people. It's Dry Run. I don't know, like cash management and financial modeling software. So it's a title this long, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll open up an email. Hello, Blaine. I see that you're the CEO of Dry Run Cash Flow Management, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. And then you start reading, and it's like, and I see that you do. And then, of course, it's grabbing comments from that. And it never seems to work out like a normal person would talk. And so I get highly entertained by them. I always feel like writing back and going, dude, just read this one. And you might want to rethink your AI, using AI a bit, but I'm like, whatever. It's up to them to figure out. But hilarious. At some point, I think it could be really quite good. They're not there yet, though.
Yeah, it's funny. The ones I like are like going, hey, you seem like a great candidate for owning a business. I'm like going,
Yeah.
you're reading my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
like you didn't read anything else about my life.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, they I don't know where they pick everything up from, but it's I would say probably not the best bet to try those. Like if you write out your own template and you can make it sound like a real person, I think you'll have something that could work for you. But it's just relying on a computer to write your messages without actually vetting them it's a tall order.
Okay, so let me start with this. Need it or don't need it for marketing your products?
Services. You absolutely need it. As much as there's all these other networks, the rest are inbound. You know what works for outbound? Phone calls and email.
Yeah.
That's just literally like that is for a lot of places. That's if you're doing outbound and you want to go hunt for your prey sort of thing. I'm not using that term, but just like going out and taking that active role. That's what works in a lot of channels. Probably not all of them, but it works in a lot of channels.
But I think even a phone call has to start off with a contact from an email. What I mean is there's got to be a way that you interact with me before I call you, because I think cold calling to me is dead. Just calling you out of the blue. Hey, I'm Mike, with Truly Financial, how's your bank account relationship or your bank relationship? I just don't think that works right anymore. Especially like with software,
I'll be honest with you, it works well. Like we've done really well with that.
Just with a cold call.
But it also depends who you're phoning, right? It really depends who you're phoning.
I would love to meet somebody, and I'm pushing on you a little bit. I would love to meet somebody that has taken a cold phone call and bought software. I've never done that. I've never even met somebody that's done that.
We've got a funnel every week, man. I will absolutely tell you, we have a funnel every week. And I do think it depends who you're phoning, but
they didn't know you. They didn't know you before. They never heard of you. You're just calling them out of the blue saying, hey, we have this software.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're subscribing then? They're subscribing then, or they're just getting more information?
Well, they'll get into a funnel, and there's a percentage of them that will buy. Absolutely. And actually quite a high percentage will.
Okay, but they're not buying all. Okay. So let me ask you.
Like our they won't buy buying our software and our services and everything is there's more to it. So there's a number of meetings, but we have a repeatable get in the top of the funnel. They book a meeting. We're going to close a third of them. Like if they meet with us, but it's a lot of that comes from phone call. And now there are.
All right, so tell me how many phone calls versus how many emails to get the same subscriber.
I can tell you the phone calls are for us with the channel we go after much more effective. We do both, so we can actually measure that. And I think there's support for phone calls. There is now, one of the lists though that works really well for us are people that have connected with us on LinkedIn. Connect with us on LinkedIn.
Okay, so, but they already kind of know you, right? I'm just saying a cold phone call where I know nothing about you.
Yeah, we've done a lot of that. We still do some, and the ones that have been a soft touch with LinkedIn first in a slightly up market channel works better. But we have done literally just straight out of the blue cold calls, get them in the funnel and convert them. And I'm not saying it's not the easiest way to do it, but it's something that we can actually execute and take control of. You don't have to sit and wait for the inbound to do.
So let me wrap my mind around this, right? Because I have really been of the opinion that a just blanket phone call, nobody knows it, has been a complete waste of time in today's world. Because I don't even answer my phone if I don't know the answer. If I don't know
I don't either. I think.
So out of 100, tell me this, out of 100, how many calls does it take to get an appointment on your phone calls versus your emails out of 100?
I would honestly, I'd have to look at our data because that's not my, it's our director of development's responsibility for that. I would literally have to look, but I know we're booking meetings like every week. And when we were just doing pure phone, like cold calls, we were booking them every week. The one thing I can say is the vast majority were coming off of phone calls, not email, but we are targeting a little bit larger businesses in a more traditional industry.
Okay.
So there is a lot there to knowing who is your customer, because I might not answer my phone, but there may be some industries or whatever that work. I know I'm blowing your mind here. It works. It works.
I'm going to put a challenge out there. I mean, I want somebody to contact us. If you've ever taken a cold call where you didn't know a company and you bought a software product off of that cold call, I'd challenge you to show me that you've done that, and I'll buy you a 6-pack of beer.
Well, like I said, we don't sell on the first call, but we
no, not you. I'm talking about anybody listening, right? So not you. I'm just saying, I want somebody to prove me wrong on this, right? It's like, show me I'm wrong. People don't buy on the first phone call from companies they don't know.
Not on first phone call, no. It's our first phone call is to book a meeting, and then we have our funnel and very repeatable closes based on that funnel. It's multiples from what we do off of email.
All right.
But it's also very targeted. Like we do a lot to make sure that we're qualifying as high as we can. But it's repeatable, man. Like we just run it. It's just an engine. We've been running for a year and a half on that channel, and it just runs.
Hey, I think we just became better friends because we had our first public fight.
I just tell you what we've had work. Now, if you could show us, I will tell you, if you could show me how to get, because we have some results from email, but it's nowhere near our phone calls. If you can help us get our bloody emails working, the ones that work for us, LinkedIn and phone calls, are leading the way by 1,000 miles. And then email is just like, it's easy to do, but it does not generate as much for us, even though that's the topic.
You're proving my point. You say you have best results with a soft touch on LinkedIn and then calling them. That's exactly what I mean. I think you already have to have at least one interaction before you call them.
Our second best is direct phone call. Our second best is absolute bloody cold phone call, like just absolute cold. Yeah. And it's not like it's not
overpaid ads. Have you done paid ads?
Yeah, we have not had a great success with that either. And I think partly we've moved up market. We have a fairly premium product at a fairly high price point. The issue we have with phone calls is people answering the phone. You can do a lot of calls and they don't answer the phone. When someone answers, we're getting a lot of them through to a meeting. To be completely honest, we just are. And it is absolutely second place to soft touch connected with us on LinkedIn and then follow-up call. That's actually worked best. That's worked really well.
Okay. So, all right. So when I was making phone calls, this is like, we'll say 2012, 2013, I was calling into banks, just cold calling in the banks, just trying it. And I was making somewhere around 100 to 150 calls a day. And I was probably setting 2 to 5 appointments a day, right?
Yeah.
After a while, though, I got to thinking I was just corporate entertainment, which they were just taking the meeting to put something on their calendar, and there wasn't a real interest in the product. So,
yeah. So, but like though, because
you've got
booking that many meetings is absolutely like actually really terrific for doing that many dials. But then it comes down to the next one is what do you close out of those dials, right?
But you got to remember back in 2012, I was talking about automating data gathering, and these guys had no idea what that meant, but it sounded interesting. But it was way out in front of what their technology or their even risk tolerance would even, we were probably 5 years ahead of what the market allowed for. Right.
Yep.
Bankers are like, oh, no, our business owners are never going to let us connect to their accounting system. And now everybody in the world lets you connect. So
yeah.
it was a matter of fact, we were just too early. But that was a message that I couldn't get across in an email. Right. So we took the phone call route and started just showing people, here's what I mean. Here's QuickBooks. Here's what you get. And they go, oh, shit.
Yeah. If we get them from like, we basically do that phone call and we qualify them and get them booked in a meeting. And of course, not everyone shows up. That's one of the most aggravating things. If they show up to a meeting, we close at a very high rate. And because they've had the phone call qualified, they show up for a meeting, we're closing a really, really solid rate. And I'll be honest with you, I was skeptical. It's not like this wasn't my idea. This was our director of development. Now he is highly experienced and highly successful. And he came in and he just got it working and it runs. It just goes. It's like tick. But I will tell you, if the getting leads is the hardest, getting those qualified leads, not just like qualified leads, like you said, if they don't understand it, but getting those qualified leads is the, like, that's the biggest challenge, but that's also the biggest win. If we could double our leads, we double our closes tomorrow. Like we just would and that's how can we use, because we've never been that successful on email on getting meetings booked. I think we get some, but we haven't been wildly successful on that, nor with paid advertising has not been wildly successful. If you can help me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. So, well, it sounds like I need to put up another episode on just cold calling, because I want to explore that and talk about different techniques, things I've done and funny stories that's happened because of it. But back to the subject of email. Let's just talk about how about style? I still think we need email, and maybe it's just communication. It's more about brand awareness. It's about they got to see your name so many times before they get kind of interested or they put you aside. Just like I told you, I don't unsubscribe, but that just means I'm not ready, right? And I'm not ready. There might be a time I'm ready, but if I stay out of their inbox, I'll never be ready. Right.
And you know what? Like I that's a good point, because we just sent out our holiday greeting like today, frankly, probably a touch later than we could have. And it just reminds me, like, we got a pretty big email list and we don't get a lot of people dropping off that list. And so, that is maybe something we have to consider more is, man, if they're staying on the list, maybe they have more interest in what we're doing than we realize at times. Right.
Yeah. Cause I don't think people are lazy about unsubscribing anymore. I think they'd rather unsubscribe.
Yeah.
If they're just not interested.
That's true, because I do that all the time, and yet I get a ton of stuff in, but it's like a little holding pattern of places I kind of like, right? And like a lot of it's like consumery, clothes and stuff, right? Like I just like it, right? Yeah. So I hang on to those.
But there's a couple software products I'm still just kind of sitting there. I'm like, I'm not ready, but I want to remember that they're there. But then I kind of leave it up to them to help me remember.
Yes. Yeah, right. That's a good point. That is a really good point that we probably haven't taken seriously enough, that if they stay subscribed, we're probably in their consciousness to some degree. And what do we do to help unlock that?
Well, and think about it. If the marketing statistics are true, that it takes 13 brand impressions, so interactions before, somebody takes you seriously or becomes a customer or whatever that number is. And you're emailing once a month, that's still a year before they might buy.
Yeah. And and it's true. Like we email once a month, but then we have very active on socials, especially LinkedIn, to have that exposure. And then, you're at some events and everything. And it is something that it's interesting, because even when we've had this discussion a few times with the sales team, will go, they'll do a cold call, we'll book a meeting, we end up with a customer. And I've had this conversation before that, the marketing we've done has helped that, because they are warmed up a bit, that we're not just something they've never heard of. They've probably seen us because we are bloody all over LinkedIn. We're all, they've seen us. They kind of go, man, it seems legit. It seems like, and then when I can't validate this because you really don't know, and you can ask them and they're like, I can remember. But I firmly believe that of those ones that they come, they meet with us, they become customers, they likely have had those 12 other touches or whatever beforehand and have going like, yeah, these guys look legit. Right.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about style. If you're going to email somebody, what style? I mean, is it more text, less text? Is it a
yeah.
Is there a tense or, a tone that you take more so than others?
Yeah, we do very consciously. There seems to be two ends of the spectrum that I see all the time. There's either short, sweet, purely text, nothing else, text with a little your like signature information. And I will tell you one thing, if there is not signature information and it doesn't have a company name and stuff that looks legit, it's getting trashed so bloody fast, right? Because it looks completely fake to me. And it probably is. Yeah. And then the other side is photo, HTML formatted, looks beautiful. And I don't think there's much in between. You kind of do one or the other on a marketing email. And I think they both can be effective, but I think you have to know, because I'm sure you could read and have an entire experts say you have to do text only, and another one say you have to have photos. No, you have to know your customer and what are they going to respond to.
Well, I mean, the thing is that the spam filters in our mailboxes sometimes trigger on stuff like that, right? Too many images, too many links, whatever it is, words that they don't like because it's too spammy. Yeah. So I think some people have went to the text route just because they're like, okay, well, maybe you'll read it. Sometimes if you hit a link in there, just say, hey, just click this link and see it. Spam will knock it out and they'll never see it. Right? Yeah. They just never see it. So I think what nobody's really figured out is how to avoid a spam filter, right? Successfully without being spammy.
Yeah. And I think we've just sort of taken the approach that we do our due diligence. We do kind of our research, but it's kind of like, look, write a legit message and trust that it'll make sense and get through. And it's probably a single link, single image, nicely formatted text. And I think at some point we just go, we'll never, like from my point of view, it's like, we're never going to stay ahead. We're never going to know what the filters are. But trust that what we're doing is valuable to somebody, and write a reasonable message that that we think is valuable, and we hope the spam filters think are valuable. Yeah, but maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe that's why I'm not doing so well with email.
I mean, how many emails would you send out at one time?
We do very small batches. We try and be very focused.
Yeah, so you almost got to, right? Because I think those people that go out there and say, I'm going to send 5,000 emails out today.
Well, yeah, no, we do like a very few highly focused to a list that we believe are really good leads. And interesting, because then that becomes the effectiveness in email. And just something I think we have to bring up is just the quality of your list. We don't buy a list of 10,000 people and try and spew out crap, right? We like I said, a lot of them are contacts that have connected with us on LinkedIn. We've done the hard legwork. We've built a list. It's very small, but we believe it's people that really are going to care about what we do. And we're not just spray and pray. It's very well thought out, very targeted, right? But it is like, that's probably again why our phone calls do really well.
Yeah, but I think that spray and pray, as you said, that's pretty much dead. You're only going to get away with that once or twice.
And then you get blocked from everybody and everything.
You'll be blacklisted forever. So
yeah,
it's one of those things you're just not going to be able to do. So I think you've got the right approach, and I've used some automation, but I might send out 100 emails in a day, but I'll spread them out like 20 per hour, or something like that. And they're all like 1 minute apart. Right. So I'm not just going that way. I mean, it's targeted to the right 100 people, but I'm not just spamming it, and I'm not getting caught up in a lot of filters. It more resembles an individual's email to someone else. Yeah. And I think that's what you're trying. Not saying you can't use automation. You just can't mass, market
20,000, 50,000. Yeah. And I don't even think your response rate will be that good. Same thing on LinkedIn. We do a very small number of connection requests. Well, LinkedIn caps it, so you can't do any more than that. Very research targeted list. And it works. But I think the reason it works is because it is like we do our homework. We know exactly who we are. We believe we know what value we can offer to them. We send a message that is that there is automation there, and we freely admit it. We actually tell them like, hey, like, we've basically done your homework, and we look like you might be someone that we should talk with. Like, but very small number, highly targeted, very clear messaging, as honest as we can possibly make it. But we also know that, you can't write a different message for every single person every time, or you'll never get anywhere, right?
Well, and your list, that has to be really curated often. Right. If you get bounces, you get things that move, either hard or soft bounces, or get caught up in the spam filter, just remove them. Right.
Yeah. We've experienced that too. You get any of that. And we've tried, like a lot of people, we've tried buying a list at one point, and it was not even a big list. And then you find out like half of them are bounces. We get penalized for all that. And you're like, forget it. Absolute garbage. We'll build our own. We will build our own. To make sure that we're really trying to touch, connect with people that we believe are a good fit.
And what's funny is that even at some of these conferences that you go to, where you're getting people come to your booth, they let you scan the badge, and it still bounces. Like, you in person. How is that the case? So it's one of those things where they've even opted in to hear more from you, and then they think you just probably went away. They're like going, that company didn't care about me. They didn't email me, and I know it bounced.
Either that or like, funny, I'm going to give them a fake email address and take my my free pencil.
Well, that's always true too, right? And people are there for the free pencil. So very, very funny. So, all right. So what about the tone of the message? Because we had an episode on your tone, your image is the company, and it has to be consistent with your social media presence, your email, and your website. I think they all got to have the same tone, which is like professional casual, or I'm humorous, or I'm a little bit naughty, because there's a company called Shinesty, and I'm like going, man, I'm always surprised by what they put in the subject line of their email. Am I going, yeah, but I can't unsubscribe. I just think it's funny.
And I will say that funny is the hardest thing to do. So we just don't do it because it's we got a funny team, but it's risky doing that. And we have that sort of business casual, and it flows from our social media through to our messaging. We try and be approachable and honest, but serious. We don't do like what light we'll do, but not joke, because that's a hard one to do well. And we don't do button up, tight tie. That's not us either, right?
Yeah, I think it would be hard in your job Right, because you're asking somebody to, manage funds, right? To look into their money, and nobody thinks that that's a jokey atmosphere.
It's not funny. No,
Not
it's
funny.
not. It's not. And but we like it is. It's the same from our website through to our socials, through to our emails, through everything. It's got the same tone, and it's not something that I don't even think is conscious anymore. It's just that's who we are, and that's how we approach people from the outside. And I know there's a little bit of wiggle room from here to there, but it's just that's what works for us, and it works for us because that's honest. That's just we know who we are, we know what how we can help you, and we have to honor that sort of approach, right?
Yep. So, all right. So there's different types of emails, right? There's transactional, there's marketing emails, there's those type of things. I think that there's a cadence or frequency that isn't annoying, because I've actually signed up for some products, and then all of a sudden I'm flooded with a cadence of emails where it's almost too much at once. I'm like, oh, wait a second, I didn't sign up for all this interaction. Right?
Yeah.
I just want to use your product.
Yeah, and that's a delicate balance, and it's something that we're always dealing with. I'm sure you've been to through that too. It's just, what is the right frequency? What makes sense for who they are in this context? They've just signed up. What makes sense without annoying the hell out of them? I remember when we first launched Dry Run, we went for quite a while before we had a complaint, and then one day I got just this absolutely raving complaint. Too many emails. Oh my God, the world is going to end. Like, honestly, it was tragic. Like it's like, it was the feeling that we kicked down this guy's door and had just lit his couch on fire. Like, he was so angry on how many emails we sent. And, but he had his kind of signature and email address. And he was a student. Why did you even sign up? Like, get lost, right? And it was like, it's like, you're so annoyed all the way through, and they look at the bottom and just start laughing, like, you got to be kidding me. That was the worst complaint we ever got, was from a student.
Yeah, I had a guy like that. He came in. He was just. I'm talking about. I haven't been cussed since I was a state trooper. I haven't been cussed like this on the email.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, going, these were emails that I sent out. I said, we sent you 2 in 2 months, right? 2 emails in 2 months. Yeah. And you're complaining about the frequency and the volume of emails. I'm like, going, what? I said, you signed up for the list. You said, I want more information. We just sent you it. Just unsubscribe. Hit the unsubscribe link, and you won't get it again.
Yeah.
But he went on, and he sent me 3 emails like in 3 days succession. It was like he would wake up and go, you know what? I'm fucking still mad at that guy. So finally I said, I told him, I said, oh my God. I said, hey, I apologize. I said, all you got to do is unsubscribe. We won't send you anymore. I said, but you've given me a brilliant idea for the next podcast. I said, I'm going to use this as an example of how to get off somebody's email list.
Yeah.
And how not to. I said, and I'm going to bring you up. I'll give you credit for all your shit here, and I'll show people what you sent me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll sue you for libel. I'll sue you for this. I'm like, it can't be libel or slander.
Yeah,
if you
no, you won't. Yeah,
it's the truth.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, you don't really know what you're talking about. The other email I got, I remember, that was that I thought was actually quite funny, because we would the odd time I'd made a blog post, and what I did is we called them roundups. I'm sure you've seen them. And so what I would do is I'd reach out to people that were interesting in our industry and say, like, hey, I'm putting a roundup post together. Here's the topic. And what I'm looking for is just a short paragraph from like 30 or 50 experts on this topic. And they were really good. And they were great, just because you had a lot of small snippets that were great viewpoints. And then also for us, we would publish this, and then everyone that was quoted on it would likely share the article. That was great too. And it was great for everybody, because everybody not only had their blurb, they had a link to their website, they had a little blurb about their company. And so it was like that super valuable backlink that everybody wants, right? And in fact, I'm asked like probably every couple of months to contribute to these articles. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do it. It's a backlink and it's great, right? And so I would get people that would we did a number of them over a year, probably 3 or 4. And the same people come back. Yeah. Get me on the next one. Get me. They were so excited about it, except for this one guy. And he was incensed that I had emailed him and he just was like, get me off the list with your spam and your scam and all this stuff. And I looked, I'm like, and I just took him off. Right. But I felt like writing back and going, dude, the other 49 are begging me to be on this list because they all know how valuable a backlink is and looking like, an expert in your field and all this kind of stuff. And you realize this is like, this guy doesn't know anything. And probably 5 years down the road, he went, how do we get more backlinks to our site? And it just, but I'm like, I'm not even explaining it to him. Like if you are that dense, like I'm offering you a ton of value and everyone else is going to share. 49 other people are going to share about your business. And you're basically cursing me out because, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, well, I'm not explaining to this guy, but it was almost flabbergasting how mad this guy was that I just offered him something that everyone else loves. Right.
That is so crazy, right? Hey, you should invite me. We should ever do another one.
I should talk with our team about doing another one because we haven't done one in a few years, to be honest. And it was really effective, but you're busy and you're doing your other stuff, right? But they worked well. And we should do another one. And then I'll invite you and you can contribute because it's a good one.
Okay. So email, I think we came up with, you still need it. Right. It's super valuable, not only as a marketer, but just for external communication and keeping in contact with folks. Keep it still in the same style as your other image, your brand image. Frequency and cadence, that's a tough one. All right. You got to kind of flip a coin and just test some things out. I mean, is 2 after you sign up for a product and then maybe check in 3 days later, 7 days later, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Is it okay to touch you once a week with a marketing email, or is it once a month? I mean, you'll get to know because the frequency of unsubscribes and stuff will pop up when you get too heavy. So what are some things you could share here at the end?
Well, I think that was, I think like we talked about that. I think email is actually coming back into prominence as important. And it's because the pressure has been taken off of it. What you pointed out is that if people are staying on your list, they probably care a little bit because they don't have to stay on your list. So that's a really good point. Being honest, it's not about having a big list. It's not about having 1 million people on your list. Like I'll tell you, 1,000 people that really care about what you do is worth infinitely more than 1 million people that don't. Right. And then contrary to what Mike thinks, phone calls still work. Sometimes.
No, I didn't say they didn't work. I'm saying that you've already got to have an introduction. I'm just saying a cold call of blue is going to have a lower success rate. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my time. I'll say that. So yeah. So if you're just now tuning in, Blaine and I disagree about this, and that's going to be a point of contention from here on out. I'm always going to bring that up because we've agreed on so much. I'm glad we finally have a point of diversion.
Yes,
right?
and it's not like I'm going to bat for it. We just literally, we just have the data, and for us, it's worked, and we have sales coming out of it. So that's I'm not like committed to it at all, but it's worked for us. So.
The sentence you said today that really stuck with me was Slack, Teams, those type of products saved email. Right. Yes. That really stuck with me. I'm like going, oh yeah, man, that's a good way to think about it. So, hey, episode number 21, we're talking about, hey, email, it's a necessary evil, love it or hate it. You're still going to need it. You're still going to want to use it. And if you don't want to listen to us, you can see us on YouTube because we are there at Nobody Told Me with Mike and Blaine. That's our channel. Go check it out. And we have cover photo now there, cover art. We do have a website. You can even buy us a beer now. Did you know that?
We still haven't had anyone buy us a beer yet, but I'm hopeful that this will be the week, or at least early January. You guys can buy us a New Year's beer.
I'm gonna probably post a picture of me writing on a cardboard piece saying, buy us a beer. That's what I feel like. I feel like I'm begging for beer now.
Whatever works, man. It's the most worthwhile way to pay.
That's just funny, but and it's only $5. So
Exactly.
you can throw that out there. So, hey, Blaine, great one, man. We got the 22 coming up next.
Absolutely, 22, maybe even before the end of the year. So we'll hang tight and see if we can do that. But happy holidays, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Enjoy your time.
Yeah, take care.